and welcome back to the Holistic Homes Podcast. I'm Christine, licensed general contractor here in California and construction consultant nationwide on helping you create a healthier home. And I want to talk about what does that even mean and how we are completely doing things different. We are not just talking about zero VOC paint. We are talking about an entire home where you can actually heal and thrive and put any sort of water damage or mold experience in the past. So today I want to share with you a little sneak peek into our process, give you a couple of nuggets that maybe you can use in your own project and how you can have a different perspective on what it means to actually create a healthy home. So I first want to share what is this big topic even about? I will have people come to me with different ideas of what a healthy home means for them, and that is exactly what it should be. The idea of building a healthy home is simply the idea that it's not one size fits all. It is not production homes built for unknown end users. It's not these communities just popping up and we don't know what family is going to be living in it. Building a healthy home is a home that is built for you and your family based off of your unique needs. Now, in that healthy home category, it's a spectrum. I certainly have families that prioritize water damage avoidance, building things really watertight and airtight. That might be at the top of their priorities. And I have other families that really want to focus on doing water filtration. They may have bigger concerns around EMF exposure. And that is exactly the idea. It is not just putting you in a box and creating a home based off of, not knowing what your unique family's health concerns might be. And it might be water filtration. It might be mold avoidance. The idea is that our process needs to begin with what your priorities are. That's how any home building process should be, is taking into consideration your concerns. And most home building process start with what's referred to as programming. So you might be working with your architect and there's going to be programming around square footage and bedrooms and bathrooms and architectural styles. Those are all wonderful things. Let's also add to that the programming around your health priorities, or could even not be related to health. It could be just performance priorities. This is an investment. When you are building or renovating a home, at a bare minimum, it's a financial investment. And building a robust, watertight, healthy home also correlates to a very smart investment, because the alternative, which you've probably seen all over social media, are homes with mold and water damage and deteriorating and $100,000 or $200,000 mold remediation costs. It's a slippery slope of doing poor quality construction. And so health concerns or not, building a solid home is just a good investment. Okay, so back to what the idea of a healthy home really is. Our take is that it's building a unique home based off of a unique set of health goals, but ultimately a healthy home for us prioritizes occupant health. That's it. If I were to give it one sentence, a healthy home prioritizes occupant health above everything else. Now here's the catch to that. Building codes do not prioritize occupant health. I can say that, but there's some caveats. Yes, building codes have come a long way for structural integrity. Yes, that does impact occupant health, definitely. Building codes have come a long way as far as energy efficiency and lowering your utility bill. That doesn't really correlate to occupant health. I talk to many families who say, I don't care what my utility bill is, I just want a healthy home. Now, healthy homes that are watertight and airtight do also have some energy savings, but in short, we need to prioritize occupant health and we need to dial in the building enclosure based off of your unique family's needs. So from there, once you have some programming done with the architect and we've done good, better, best and put your needs in a hierarchy category that's focused on building defect avoidance, water intrusion avoidance, EMF mitigation, water filtration. We do also look at indoor air quality goals. So once those programming goals are established, then moving into the design development stage. This is where things start to take shape and you have a floor plan, you have exterior elevations, and this is where space planning, and you might be moving things around a bit. And this is where things start to get dialed in and your vision is coming to life. You might even have some 3D renderings to see what interior spaces might look like. But this is where it's all starting to take shape. And then from here, this is where our team really starts to get involved. We're adding commentary about notes on the floor plan. We're kind of forecasting ahead of like any mechanical needs and spacing for things. We're also looking at like where water lines might be backing up to sleeping areas, and just looking at the project through the lens of leak management and how this could be potentially impacting your health in the long run. And then the next piece is one of my favorite areas to focus on, and really what sets our process apart from anyone else that's doing consulting work or advocating work for helping you create a healthy home. Our process really likes to focus on what's referred to as a data-driven design. So once we've gone through floor plans and elevations, this is when we start to talk about the strategy around how the home's going to be built. What are we doing for exterior walls and the roof assembly? And we are collaborating with the architect and the builder all at the same time. Once we've have a benchmark or a goalpost for what those are going to include for the enclosure layers. From there, the data-driven design comes from actually having data. And that comes in the form of a hydrothermal analysis. Gets into the engineering realm, and 99.9% of residential projects never have this done. And it is often not typically completed unless there's a building failure, which our process just very much flips all of that in reverse. To digress a bit, the building defect industry, when they are doing destructive testing and leak testing and hydrothermal analysis and really trying to get to the root cause of like, why did this building fail? Take all of that and implement it on the front end of your project, and then you have a data-driven design. That is exactly what the process should be like, is don't wait until there's defects and there's litigation and attorneys and destructive testing. Take that whole process, minus the nasty litigation, and bring it to the front end so that you have a data-driven design. And so going back to the floor plan, the elevations, the building enclosure conversation, then we get into the hydrothermal analysis. And this gets real technical, real quick. We have in-house staff with a PhD around building enclosures, and it gets really scientific. But in short, if you look at the proposed exterior walls of your home, this is exterior walls, the roof, and you look at each of the layers, whether that's you have 2x6 framing and there's insulation in the walls, and then you have a sheathing layer, and then you have all of these other layers, and then you have brick on the exterior of your home. A hydrothermal analysis is going to take that entire enclosure and run it through a model that is looking at how each of those layers are handling humidity and moisture content for a several year span. So it's looking at all seasons, all year round, rain. It's looking at your unique specific climate zone, like the location of your lot. It is looking at just about every little parameter to determine, before it is built, are there any moisture concerns? Are there areas where this particular wall is going to have moisture reach the inside that is then going to potentially lead to mold growth? It's a very technical way of running an analysis, but in short, that can give you some data beforehand to signal if there are any potential concerns about the way you're going to construct your home. Data-driven design. So having that done then kind of gives you this green light or red light of like you're headed in the right direction, or there's some issues here at this particular wall, and there's a red flag that the way this is currently going to be built, there's going to be moisture and potential mold concerns within that wall. So much better to know that before any construction begins. So that's a bit about that process. It gets more in depth, and we continue the building enclosure conversation. But the next piece that I get really excited about has to do with the quality control during construction. And this is something that has taken me a while to put together. Again, it's been an uphill battle very much to get to a place of everyone understanding that a healthy home is not negotiable, and that taking away the fear around building a home and also the uncertainty. That was the thing that came up most, is families have been impacted by mold, their children have been sick, they've been burned by contractors, they've done X, Y, and Z, and it was not successful. And then they come to us, and sometimes what feels like their last hope of, I just need this to be successful. We need to have actual data and verification to give the homeowner peace of mind. Because again, contractors aren't typically out there just being negligent and doing terrible work. It's just that there's human error. That is a fact of life, and you have a whole lot of humans and their hands building your home. And it just makes good sense to layer in quality control all throughout that build. That is another pair of eyes on your project. Yes, you probably have your city inspector coming out to the project, walking around, looking at things, but they're there for a short amount of time, and they are not typically there looking at the most critical items. They are there looking at their checklist for that day of what they need to check, and then they're on to the next project. Having third-party observations and inspections are huge in doing a project. If you do nothing else except for third-party inspections, I think you will have at least a meaningful impact in the outcome of your home, because you're actually having documentation about what's going on during the construction of your home. And so that could be third-party home inspectors. We are often coordinating mold inspections. Yes, even in new construction, mold inspections. Why? Peace of mind. Peace of mind. It is not enough to say this is new construction and it's going to be completely mold safe. We need verification of that for the homeowner, for the builder, for everyone involved, that after the framing stage and everything is dried in, having a mold inspection come through, a visual check of the lumber, maybe there's some testing done, but again, getting the green light to proceed to the next step. No home is completely mold free, but giving the homeowner peace of mind that their home is safe and that there's not visible mold growing everywhere and that there's not an active issue. That gives a ton of peace of mind when it's documented and the homeowners have that in hand. So that's a bit more of the quality control, again, unique to each homeowner's specific needs. You've heard me talk about leak testing a ton. That is huge and something that I'm very adamant that every project receive. Again, another area that was a huge uphill battle, trying to coordinate leak testing experts all over the US, which we have thankfully been able to accommodate for all of our projects. But again, it was one of those areas I would call. I spent hours calling all over the US, anywhere we had a project, to find companies that would do leak testing on new construction projects. I got told, no, we don't do that, despite having all of the equipment and the staff to do it. No, we don't do that. We only do it on commercial projects, or no, we only do that during litigation. And it was mind-blowing of like, why are you people not focusing on like preventative building? Why are you not doing leak testing during construction? Why are you waiting for buildings to fail and doing testing after the fact? Incredibly frustrating, but I pulled it off. We now have a ton of resources to facilitate leak testing on any of the projects that we're consulting on. And it is just a huge blessing and has really been eye-opening for contractors and for homeowners to see what those outcomes look like. And I like to think that there are a few contractors along the way where their minds have changed a bit, because we've had projects with great contractors, very long established businesses and reputations, and they're so confident in their window installation, as every contractor is. And leak testing during construction can reveal weak points or just areas where it's not as robust as everyone thought it was. And so much better to know that at that moment than 5 years down the line when something has revealed itself. And so I have had contractors come to me after the fact, thanking me. Their perspective has changed and that they are going to be doing leak testing on all of their projects because they actually see the value in it now. So there's plenty more that we do during the observation and inspection stage to really give the homeowner peace of mind all throughout construction, because that is just, it makes good sense. You are building a home, this is probably $1 million, $2 million, multi-million dollar investment. And even if you don't have health implications in your family from previous projects, it is just a wise investment to have quality control all throughout the build to make sure that there's not issues that are going to give you a maintenance headache down the road. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a sneak peek into a bit of our process where it really focuses on taking projects from the quality assurance stage, strategizing on the building enclosure, good, better, best opportunities discussed with the architect and the builder. And then my favorite part is really the third-party quality control all throughout construction, giving the homeowner peace of mind so that they can confidently move into their home and finally heal and thrive and have really good data about their home, as every homeowner should. So I thank you so much for being here. Check out our other episodes where we've gone into topics about builders and architect selection and good, better, best strategies. We have a ton of episodes and more coming. But if you have any questions about working with us or our team, you can always head to the link below. Send us a message on Instagram. That's the best way to reach us. And then we can connect and learn more about your project from there. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you on the next episode.